my gosh, Labubu. Hot take. Wait, before we're in the weeds already. Let's just have this on the air, like talking about your Labubu.
I don't know much about it.
Let's
But
talk about it.
Welcome to
What is
Talk Tennis.
I don't know what that is.
Today we have Troy, Manish, and Oak in the studio with
Been a
me.
while.
So long.
And this episode, we think we're going to break it up into two because we think we have a lot. We're doing some hot takes. Hot takes.
Yeah.
Hot tennis takes.
And we have a few categories as well. You said
We have a few categories. Hot take is Labubu. I don't get it. It's weird.
what's wrong with the boo boo?
I don't know. I don't understand. I don't understand it. They're putting them on there.
What's the boo boo?
Is this like a Lulu thing? Like I don't
No,
know.
no, no. They're like little dolls.
Do you know what a
You
Labubu
like clip
is?
them onto your
I
bag.
think we were
Oh,
talking. Does
no.
Sabalenka have one on her bag?
She has a little
fake-
figurine, but I don't think
Is
it's
it like
I don't think
herself?
it's
No, no,
Oh,
no,
no.
no.
It's like a
They're
voodoo
like
doll?
emotional support.
emotional support.
Well,
Let us know if you know what a Labubu is.
I got one on the way. It's gonna be in my tennis bag.
Is it Manish?
It
like
matches
Manish?
It's a green
his
tea. It's a
shirt.
green tea Labubu.
Okay, okay.
I mean, you know.
Part of the macaroon pack or something like that. What were the other ones? The fugs?
Waggle. No. Waggle.
That's the name of the lady.
But it's
the
Fuggle. Sorry.
Fuglor?
Waggle, the UCLA girl. Shout out.
Shout out.
Shout out.
We just finished an episode on the best backhands, and I was saying that Waggle, who I think is graduating,
very pretty-
has a very pretty
yeah.
game and very pretty backhands.
So we have a few categories
Thank
I
you.
wanted to mention. We have
Get us back on track.
we have an ATP category hot take, WTA. We have gear. So and then we have a rec level hot take, and
And
then
just
just
a
general.
general.
I think
Where do you wanna
Oak
start?
Might have the most in terms of general hot takes, but let's
Why do you say
go heavy and go
Let's
pro
go
pro
heavy.
tour. Yeah,
Pro
let's go
tour.
to
You
the
want to
pro
start
tour.
pro tour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go heavy.
Oak,
I can-
you want to get us going?
I can start Pro Tour. So my take for
Hot take.
this is kind of my hot take for this is kind of both tours, but this is largely relating to the year-end finals.
Oh.
Which I think needs
Okay.
some overhauling. I think for one, it should expand to the top 10 players. So we have a slightly larger round robin and entry pool. And from the semifinals onward, it should be best of 5
On men's and women's side?
on men's and women's.
Hot
Correct.
take.
And I also think the surface should potentially change every year, as opposed to always just being indoor hard.
That I'm down for.
If you win the finals, you get to pick the surface for the following year,
Ooh.
and you get automatic entry as a defending champ.
You get automatic entry as a defending champ regardless of your ranking then very
Correct.
next year.
I don't think it would be a ton of applications because usually those guys are finishing inside the top 8, top 10 anyway.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a fun sort of mix up, and it would keep players engaged and wanting to compete throughout the tournament a little bit more. Versus now you kind of
True.
get there,
Yeah.
you play a couple round robin, you lose, you're done.
And that gives a little bit more value to the rankings because right now rankings are just for seeding and all that. Not a whole lot of people care as much about ranking unless you're either too low in the rankings or you're really high up and you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But I also think the WTA event and the ATP event should be at the same venue. It should be a joint event,
yeah,
like
yeah.
the
Like a
Slams,
major?
like the Slams, and kind of tailing into that. I want to see women play best of 5.
Okay,
Well,
so
that's
the,
an interesting hot take because that's been coming up at the French. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
The women would play best of 5, semifinal, and final.
Yeah, and at Slams.
Oh, okay. So not just World Tour final.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
at the
That's
slam
a
level
good
as well.
take. Yeah.
Would you change the men's to not be like at any tournament? You're not saying the men's are going to stay 5 all the way through.
For the Slams, yeah.
Let's have a gender reversal.
the-
Men play 2 out of 3.
But the women would be still 3 up until semi and final.
No, that would just be for the year end.
Okay.
Oh,
tournament,
okay.
And then they would play full best of 5 all rounds at the Slams.
And the slams.
Yeah.
That's a good.
Oh, so you're
yeah.
saying all 4 slams?
Yeah.
Women would play best of 5
Best of
every
5,
round, just
every
like the
round.
men.
Think about how much more value you would get as a fan going to those matches. You get more tennis. I think you get you
I
know,
think that would also take a drastic change on the rankings as well, because lasting
think
for
so.
5 sets.
I don't know. I don't
Lasting for
know.
5
It
sets.
also, but like if you think from a scheduling point, and like even today, I was listening to them talk about the women not playing night matches at Roland Garros
Sure.
and the issue, and then the commentators were like, "Well, you have to think that these are being broadcast all around the world. The broadcast, the people watching this on TV are actually the audience that sees the most
Yeah.
of this match. It's not just the people watching on Court
Yeah.
Chatrier, but." So I don't know. Does that change the schedule? We've already got matches like at all the Grand Slams going well past midnight. If we add longer,
I think it would obviously pose like some scheduling logistics, but I think it would be worth
They
it.
can work it out. They
Yeah.
can work it out.
They've
I
got
like-
plenty of courts.
Today is a great example. We saw Iga got
Right.
blasted off the court in the
speaking
third
of,
set.
I need to do a score check.
6-0 in the third. You're telling me if we had another,
Come on, it could have been 2 more sets at least. That
Yeah,
would've been
you're telling me it
awesome.
could have been 2 more
Yeah.
sets. Maybe she came back.
Right.
Maybe Sabalenka can't hold up that level of power for like 5 sets. You don't know. So I'm telling you, it would. I feel like change like the way we see.
I definitely understand the point, and that's one of the only things I can think of over the years. Like I'm all for equal pay,
Yeah.
but there's one standout factor that's always been since they've made it 5 for men and 3 for women.
Oh,
It's like they're
yeah.
not playing the same length of competition,
Right.
and that's the only real argument anybody ever that I've heard or I think of that could pose the reason why it might not be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
then again, I understand like the tournaments, the matches are long enough. Like I'm starting to think in my mind, do we bring down the men's competition a little shorter?
Yeah.
Like if they go 2-all sets, like can we not? I don't know. Like I'm and make it like a little bit more.
Tiebreak at 5-5.
Well, it's so
Ooh.
crazy because then think about what they've done to the doubles side of things, which I'm not saying is
Condensed.
good or bad, but
Yeah.
like the fact that you're playing a 10-point tiebreaker sometimes for
For a
in a
championship.
Grand Slam to like decide if you move forward or not is a little bit wild.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it's in the Grand Slams, but like, is there no ad sometimes in doubles? Was it at BNP? I
Yeah,
thought?
they have deciding point. in a
Yeah,
lot of
so that's
tournaments.
kind of crazy too, but
I don't
I like
know.
it. Manish, let's get here a
Okay.
pro level
I
hot take.
have an ATP one and IWT one. I'll just do the
Sure.
ATP one first.
Perfect.
So I'm on the forum every day.
Uh-oh.
And so this is from based off the forum. The recency bias on the Sinner Alcaraz era is crazy. I've heard takes like, Sinner is peak Rafa level on clay right now. He's yada yada. Right now, like I've seen this, and we were talking about this stat the other day. Men born in the 80s and.
That's crazy.
There are 80 Grand Slams. I'll tell the fact. The 80 Grand Slams were won by men that are born in the 80s. Men born in the 90s have 2 Grand Slams.
I have a hot take that goes with that, but
And
I'll let
then
you
men
finish.
born in the 2000s have already surpassed the men born in the 90s. 7 Grand Slams with Sinner and Alcaraz. So, if the big three have not only existed for at least 3 generations, and dominated 2 of them. Don't tell me that Sinner is peak Rafa RG. I don't want to hear that. You don't tell me that Alcaraz on grass is
Peak
prime.
Roger?
Yeah.
Heck
I've heard
no,
that. I've heard
heck
that.
no.
And then that's why I said the recency bias is crazy, especially on the forum.
I'm going to tag into that and then I'll go to you,
Because
Troy.
people
Mine's
just want to like say stuff without actually doing all the work and the research. And it goes with what you're saying goes with every sport. Like I watch a lot of sports, and me and my dad just sit on the couch and talk college football. it's like making the Luka Doncic versus Larry Bird. You know, it's like you didn't grow up in their era. You know, and the other thing I want to say is like, oh, Rod Laver could never play like Rafa. Okay,
Yeah, well,
they're different
it's
builds,
changed.
But like Pete Sampras, for example, a different time, right? You move Pete Sampras to being born the same time as, say, Sinner or Alcaraz. He's born, he's their age.
2000s, yeah.
And he grows up in the same modern training, like weightlifting,
yeah.
nutrition, with all the modern science. Pete, how tall was Pete? Like
He was. I was gonna say
6'1".
He's tall.
6'2".
he's a freak athlete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's no John
He's-
Isner tall, but he's
gonna
tall.
be.
6'4",
You take
maybe?
Rod Laver. Rod Laver was smaller. He was a smaller build.
Yeah.
But you put him in modern society, the
Yeah.
human being.
He's gonna evolve
and
also.
Grow him in the modern Rafa. Put him in a Rafa academy, you know, and train him with the weightlifting and the sports science and the nutrition. Things will balance out a little bit. We just get so caught up in our modern time. We don't know what happened.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened in the Roman times
they
with the
were doing
gladiators,
it.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
Maximus Aurelius. You
Okay.
know, He'd probably
Okay.
beat
My
up
hot
John Cena.
take. I'm gonna cut you off.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, this is easy for
Sorry,
me.
sorry.
My hot take: pro level, 90s was the best era of tennis. Done. Go. Your turn.
Oh wait, 90s was the best
That's-
era.
I say 90s is the best era of tennis.
Dude.
You had the transition from the 70s
I
and
agree.
80s. You had the people
like that.
coming in. I 100%
I didn't
believe-
live that, and I didn't really start watching tennis till early 2000s. But I kind of watched some of those
Yeah.
matches. But it's funny you say that. I was just shopping for Nike AirTech challenges. Like I could see shoes
Yeah,
the mid
yeah.
tops. I was like, the
90s,
style,
man.
right?
But in the
Style,
90s
the
had
The
Games.
rackets, the style, the personalities, the
Yeah,
players,
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
variety, the speed of the courts, the champions.
I mean,
the,
I have this written down.
Aura.
the aura.
The aura of the 90s tennis is different, and I agree with
Monica Seles.
Yes.
Who would have been the greatest probably ever, right? I mean, she won.
Except Steffi Graf. yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
Graf
never
is
know.
goated.
yeah.
But then we got Serena. Dun, 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 dun.
I mean, what? Seles won.
Well, and then the irony
8
of that,
or
her
9 slams
stabbing
before-
was
exactly.
against Steffi.
Yeah. So I feel like if we had
We're
gone to
getting
see
heated.
Seles,
We're
Yeah.
But
getting
what
heated.
about the people like were like the Connors, McEnroe,
He was still kind of playing in the 90s,
like the
early 90s.
the French Three Musketeers, Henri
Right.
Lacoste. You know, back in like the
For
what
sure.
about the 20s?
Yeah, I'm
what
not.
about the Roaring 20s?
I'm just. That's why it's my hot
Suzanne
take.
Lenglen.
Yeah, what about the Roaring 20s, dude?
Give me a pro hot take,
Oh,
Troy.
pro hot take.
Next,
Dang.
we
I
gotta
don't know if
keep
mine
it
are that
moving.
good.
Oh, so
Mine. So like I have a couple hot takes. I can just post them real quick. But one of them is like a topic in general. on the
Okay,
Pro Tour.
get us going. Go.
I'll say that the quick one. Musetti should have got defaulted.
Oh.
If Djokovic,
Yes.
if Djokovic got defaulted, he should have got defaulted. And then the other one is we talked about this before on podcast. Did Sinner get off too easy, and
Oh.
will we forget about it soon?
No.
Like
we're not forgetting.
No
about
one's
it.
forgetting. I
No,
think he
'cause
traded. Here's
he's-
the hot take. I
yeah.
think he's now part robot, which I think Bublik said a couple years ago. Sorry. Go
when he
ahead.
was like 15.
Go ahead. Sorry.
But then this isn't really a hot take, but it's something that I was just thinking of. It's like a topic, the money thing on the Pro Tour, like the ATP, and they're trying to get like a players
Council or P-
foundation
Yeah,
type
yeah.
thing.
PIP.
But like, I think ATP needs, and I think they're going that direction, like the other leagues, like NBA, and they have teams and they have trainers and they have travel and they have food. But like the travel thing, for like, at least that, start with the travel thing. I think like on the Pro Tour, they should incentivize somehow, like by ranking, to help these ATP players, these up and coming players, to get paid, like to cover their flights and maybe even some of their stay, like their hotels.
I think the hotels are covered until you lose,
Okay.
and then
So
you're
that,
done.
but like the flights and stuff, like help
Yeah.
them with airline tickets,
Yeah.
and also for kind of like taxes or tax brackets, but like the top guys, like check their income, like whatever they're making at tournaments and their endorsements. If they're making over a certain amount, they
Sure.
get cut. They
Yeah.
get no help.
They get
Novak,
chopped.
they're not getting help.
Well, and then the ones that live
jet.
in places that don't have taxes, that's also kind of interesting, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but you can check their income somehow.
Yeah.
And at least by
Yeah.
like their money they make from prize money, but also endorsements. If you're making a certain amount, you can get no help. But like go down the ranks to like 500, 1,000
Oh,
guys
I
like
got
Kuru,
hot
and
takes.
help them with their flights. At least that part, just
At
to
the
get
very
there.
least, yeah.
How is there no like official partnership between the ATP and an airline?
because everyone has private jets that's in the top 50.
Yeah.
I mean, this I think connects to another overarching issue is that I think the tennis establishment as a whole needs to start working towards relinquishing tournament ownership from private owners to the ATP and WTA, because tournament owners and venue owners, they hold the majority of the money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
For example, like Indian Wells is Larry Ellison still?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so-
even like the ball, the choice of a
Right.
ball, I know the tours are wanting to get on the same page for the same ball through the year, but that's all about which vendor is going to step up and like
Yep.
pay to be the ball sponsor.
And then the owners get to keep most of the prize money and the ticket sales. Anyways,
I'm sorry. I'm going to keep going because I have one that I wrote, and we're watching the French right now. And Busan is this like great, or Busan. I heard it's like croissant, Busan.
Oh, Busan.
Busan.
Lois Busan.
Sorry, I gotta break the news. We're filming this in the middle of her match. She just lost to Coco.
That was fast.
It was 2-1.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Wow.
incredible run though.
But someone like Busan, so I put players outside the top 100 can hang with the top 50, but don't always have the same opportunities and money to get
Resources,
there.
yeah.
And resources to get there. So we just saw someone come out of 360 something in the world hang all the way to the semifinals.
Right.
Unreal.
It's crazy. And her
went
life
from-
has
yeah.
just changed.
Yeah.
Her life has
Yeah.
just changed.
ASICS
She
put
went
her on
360.
their story.
Yeah.
So,
Did they? Even
yeah.
in the Adidas shoots?
I know, yeah. Just like it was like from the top up. But yeah.
Do you have another hot take, or you want to keep
Oh
being
yeah,
on this?
no.
We'll
Actually,
just keep going
I
on
did.
the.
It was on the. It was kind of piggybacking off of the Oak thing that he said about five sets for the women's side and all that. Women's tennis is more interesting than men's to me, because people like us who can, when you are able to read tactics and you see what they're doing and all that, tennis becomes a different game and it becomes a lot more enjoyable. And I feel like that's something that is a little bit more prevalent in the WTA tour. So our sport is one of those sports that where both men and women are paid a lot more equally than any other sport, like the WNBA and all these ones, which makes sense because the women are able to get not just same, but sometimes even more viewership than men's matches do. So that was my hot take, that women's tennis is definitely a lot more interesting than men's, which a lot of people say, which I've seen on the forum at least, that people say it's not, because it's so unpredictable who's going to win and all that. But that's the point, though, isn't it?
And it goes right into, sorry to cut you off, but it goes right into the French right now, like the topic of no women night matches.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things at the U.S. Open is Serena.
Yeah.
My girl,
Right.
Maria Sharapova.
Yeah, what's she gonna
in
wear?
the crystals, like
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
night. Like, it's
Yeah.
not a matter, it shouldn't be their excuse of, oh, they might not get as much tennis for the night session because the match might be shorter. That's kind of dumb in my opinion. Do a better job of scheduling.
Yeah.
Have a backup plan. Have a doubles match set up in
Yeah,
case
yeah.
the match only goes an hour
Yeah.
and 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Have the BMP the late session is a singles match, and then they'll have a doubles match at the end for the nightcap.
Yeah.
You know, like just schedule better.
Yeah.
But the night matches at the U.S. Open with Coco Gauff, Serena,
Yeah.
Maria Sharapova, they're just bangers.
Yeah.
These are
Bangers.
iconic points in tennis history that if we had it at the French, just think about it. Imagine having a night. Imagine watching the Sablenka and Iga match,
Right.
and at night with huge crowds and all that. It would be a different game.
Maybe Iga
and then
might have a
it's
little more motivation
and then
after
if it's
set.
5 sets as well. What did you say?
I said Iga might have had a little more motivation at the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Facts, yeah.
because he went downhill fast.
That was a bad one. But yeah, that's my hot take.
Okay.
I agree.
And
I
you're like,
agree.
what do you always say when I? You're like, okay.
Okay.
When I brought up that,
Okay.
the Sabalenka thing.
I'll keep going pro. Let's just keep bantering on the pro side. This
Yeah.
is going to be all pro hot
Yeah,
takes.
let's do the
Ooh.
Part two coming to.
If I were trying to make it as a pro player, I think doubles specialist is the way to go, because it is such an awesome balance of work-life balance, I guess,
Yeah.
essentially.
Mhm.
And you can eat more gelato. that's a juju. And
You have friends.
Yeah.
yeah.
You're making money. You're traveling. We've seen, like, part of Team T-Dub has done a really good job of creating like a team they all travel with. They go to different tournaments. They're so supportive of each other. It seems like the doubles tour, like, great. Yes, the prize money is not the same, but to make a living, at least your early 20s, early
Yeah.
30s, or late 20s, early 30s, I think that's the way to go. Life
How
isn't
would
so
you
heavy.
respond to people that say, because we have heard this, how would you respond to people that say, oh, you couldn't make it on the singles tour?
I'd be like, you're right.
and
No, I'd
know,
rather
like,
be
this is the
happy
easy way out.
winning matches, having
right.
fun on the court, instead of being like mentally struggling so hard day in and day out as a singles player. I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen it now,
Mm-hmm.
like especially with some of the guys at the French, Casper, who was it? They're like burnt out.
Yeah.
They're trying
Yeah.
so hard.
Alex talked about it as well. Deminar, like
Deminar, yeah, that was
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the doubles, you get there, you got a couple days before the draw even begins.
Yeah.
You still get invited to the players' parties. You still get endorsements. You still are traveling. You
You get
still
to
get to do
potentially play
things.
2 events mixed.
Yep.
You know?
You might not be making millions and millions and millions of dollars the way Sabalenka or Sinner are, but like you're paying the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're having
take.
fun. You get to travel the world. Yeah, no, that's
The
good.
team aspect. to
And
it.
like we've had these conversations on the pod before. Being top 10, it's okay if you're not.
Yeah.
You're not a failure.
Yeah.
It's still
I mean, I
great.
even feel that and I don't play very many tournaments anymore, but like when I was grinding out like singles tournaments in my 20s and stuff, and I used to play like local ones, and I think I still have like PTSD from this one last tournament I played, but I signed up for singles and doubles, and I played 2 singles matches on a Saturday and 2 doubles matches, and it was like singles, doubles, and I started playing at like 7:30 in the morning. I think my last doubles match ended at like 5:30 p.m. I was dead tired. Like by like the 9th hour on court, like my brain was just fried. All I could think about was food, and I wanted a beer. So like I'm just like, this is not how I want to spend my weekend.
This is not
and
fun
and I'm paying to
anymore.
play.
Yeah.
You know, like this
Yeah,
is.
you're paying
Yeah,
to go
you're
through
paying to
this.
play.
But like I'll still play a doubles tournament here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's cool because you're probably maybe even if you play 2 matches in a day,
Yeah. It's a little
You know,
less. Yeah.
Yeah.
hang
It's a little
out.
chill.
To add to that hot take, another hot take I would say is that if you don't like watching doubles, it's because you don't understand tennis.
Agreed.
If people are like,
I think people like watching doubles.
Oh,
yeah,
It's
if you
just-
if you know
yeah.
tennis, if you know how the like we talked about, if you can see strategy and you're able to see plays being run, all that, it becomes a different game. You find it more interesting. And in doubles, it's so much more like there. And shout out to Will on the
Yeah,
other podcast
Tennis
you guys
Tribe.
were talking about. The Tennis
That was a
Tribe.
fun one.
Yeah, great podcast. Go watch it.
Go check it out.
Yeah, you guys talked about some really cool stuff, and then remember that thing that Opalka said about doubles tennis, it's that using up our resources and all that.
He was kind of trolling, right? Or no?
I don't
I don't
think
know
he
if he was. I don't think he was.
Yeah.
That was a crazy thing to say because I genuinely I could be wrong. I genuinely believe there's doubles players out there who could stand at the net and take his shots all day, whilst his like return his serve all day.
A
Like
good doubles
most-
team
Yeah,
would make him look silly.
yeah.
On the doubles
That's
court.
what I'm
Like,
trying to say.
Because
Yeah.
he has,
It's just a
That's
different
why,
skill
like
set.
when like my boy Jay Sizzle, Jack Sock,
Jason.
Right.
you know, talks about doubles, he can because he's legit.
Yeah,
Right.
he's
Yeah.
But
one
he
of
calls
few.
it half court.
It is
You know,
half.
he's
I,
like,
I like that. I like that he has.
I got
a
a
little bit
slam,
of,
but half court.
You guys have any more pro level hot takes before we wrap this one? Let's do rapid fire.
Monte Carlo should be a women's event too.
Seconded. I got one.
See, yeah.
I want to say 2 actually, so I can say one quick and then move on to the second one. There are abusive coaches on the pro level tour. Okay, second one.
yeah.
And some
I don't know if that's a hot
creepers.
take. That's just truth.
That's a truth,
Yeah.
Rabakna.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to get into it. I've worked for some and I've been under some, and it's also not as easy as you guys think for a player to remove themselves from that situation. Second hot take, just to move along because I know that's a spicy topic. I started this one at Ojai. I think college tennis players that are playing doubles might be a little more competitive and fierce than the pro tour doubles
Yeah.
players.
Oh,
Oh,
college doubles is insane.
It
Yeah.
breeds the competition.
The energy is
Yeah.
crazy.
It's crazy. The energy is different.
Team sport,
And
whilst being a single sport,
yeah,
is
it's cool.
crazy.
Yeah.
But
Any
if
other,
these doubles girls start making the same amount of money through the NIL, like these college quarterbacks, it might change.
it might change, but then
Yeah.
we've also seen with Team T-Dub, they're successfully translating their college experience onto the pro tour as a doubles specialist.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other hot takes for pro tour?
we
Let's
need
hear
a
it.
longer grass season.
Longer- yeah.
That's a good one.
I'm okay sacrificing a little bit of the clay tournaments here
Yeah.
and there that we have.
Grass
Yeah, 'cause they
After the
always go
French, for
back
some
to
reason,
clay.
Grass
Yeah,
Masters?
exactly.
a grass. We need at least
Yeah, right.
we need a bit better grass season. I don't care. People are modern tennis is so.
They don't like grass.
I was gonna. Yeah, we need slow courts and the courts. No, we need faster courts. Just because you can't handle low balls and faster courts doesn't mean you take out the entire grass season. You know,
I've
I would
said
love
that,
to see a
yeah.
lot more grass.
because the clay court swing drags on,
Yeah.
and like there's only like 3
And then
weeks
they
of
go
grass.
back. They go back
I-
to hard, and then they go back to clay.
I would
Just
love to
and
see
it, and
more
it could
grass.
just come down like the ATP
Oh.
or somebody needs to step in, and it may need some funding because the infrastructure, like there's not as many grass clubs.
Well, and then maybe the ITF should align with their courts with the dependent on the season. All of a sudden, like ITF's playing clay and it's like hard court season, or ITF's playing clay and it's grass court season. Anyways,
But like, yeah, like someone like, someone like Larry Ellison or someone, there's grass courts in the desert.
Oh, yeah.
Make a
Yeah.
facility out of it.
he
dude.
could easily
The players want to go back to the
Indoor
desert.
grass.
indoor grass. Ooh.
I think is there like a mold factor there because of the water?
Oh,
Yeah.
Well,
maybe.
and
I
a
don't know.
speed
Yeah.
factor there.
They-
Holy
but,
moly!
you know,
Be
Right.
interesting though, right?
Yeah.
But there's football fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, indoor
Carpet.
practice.
Bring back carpet, maybe.
Ooh.
I don't know. I have bring back
Yeah.
another surface. My options were carpet. I was just
Omni?
doing some research. Dimpled sheet metal.
Okay.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, was the thing?
Glass.
Oh,
That's
A glass
that's
court?
a fast court.
That could look sick. I
that's
think.
like a gym
Yeah,
floor.
Yeah.
like
And then wood.
Oh,
Which
wood. There
I've
you
played
go.
on a
Gym
wooden
floor.
court before,
That'll be
and
fun.
it's so quick.
Slice is dirty.
Dirty.
So fun.
I would never get on court with you.
Okay. Any other hot takes on the pro level tour? We're gonna wrap.
Challenger Tour is more fun in general than ATP Tour.
Oh,
Ever since I've started watching Karoo, I've been watching a little bit more Challenger Tour. Not fully, like I don't know a whole lot of players.
There
and all
should
that.
be more visibility.
Challenger Tour is really fun.
Oh.
There was a court on fire once.
No.
Yeah.
What they're playing?
No, the something spilled or like some gas leak was happening, and the side court near the umpire was on fire. Like the Challenger Tour is crazy. The challenge, I'll show you guys. Yeah, it's crazy and it's fun. Challenger Tour is really fun.
Shout out Challengers 2024.
And maybe just thinking of that, like, and then the TV coverage.
That's
you
what
know?
I was just gonna go.
The TV coverage.
Yes, we
like,
need new
qualities.
voices. Oh, sorry.
Like
that's
they don't
new.
show enough. Well, I mean, I guess maybe if you've got to log into something, but like there's certain times where Tennis Channel is like showing like reruns of matches I really don't want to see,
Yeah.
and you could be watching the qualies.
Qualies or
Yeah.
even main draw. That was
Yeah.
cool at BMP. One of the channels we had at our rental had like the Challenger Tour. It was really cool. One more thing, sorry. Commentators, we need some fresh blood, some new energy. Roland Garros radio is kicking butt.
I heard Andres come into the French. For 4 days.
When?
Maybe
Because
the-
it's
maybe
like the end of
second-
the French.
Oh wait, it is the end of the French. They were just talking about that though. Maybe he's been there on a
On a different channel. Well, I know like Eurosport has
Right
some
away.
cool personalities. American coverage. They're trying new stuff at the French.
Yeah.
But
I'd love to see the Nothing Major pod do commentary for one slam. Bring
Yeah.
them and just make them.
Or just have them do it on
make
their
them
own.
interview. Make
Just
them
go
do all
live,
the-
guys. Just go live as they're
I think
playing.
they're-
We can mute it.
Better when they have prepared material. Live commentary is different, and I think it's a little harder.
And with that, we're going to end this episode and do a part 2 so you can hear our gear and in general and non-pro
All right.
hot takes
This was
on
a good
tennis.
one. This was a great one.
Happy hitting!
Yep. See you guys.